Hello there, fellow coin enthusiasts and collectors. Welcome back to the channel World Rare Coins, where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins that could be worth a small fortune. From hidden gems that could be worth a fortune to little-known coins with a rich history, we'll explore it all. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any of our exciting discoveries. And now grab your magnifying glasses and let's start our today's video. On Top 1 today, we're diving into a fascinating piece of U.S. coin history, the 1981 1-cent coin. To many, it might just seem like another penny, but today, we'll explore the rich story behind this particular coin, its design, minting, and the surprising value it might hold. Stick around as we uncover why the 1981 penny could be worth a lot more than you might expect, potentially reaching an impressive value of $49,000. Let's start with some historical context to understand why the 1981 penny stands out. The year 1981 was an important time in both the United States and world history. It was the beginning of the 1980s, a decade marked by a significant shift in politics, economics, and culture. Ronald Reagan was sworn in as the 40th President of the United States, following the end of Jimmy Carter's presidency. Reagan's administration ushered in a new era of conservative policies and economic changes that would shape the nation for years to come. On the global stage, the early 1980s were marked by the continuing tensions of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, alongside the Iranian hostage crisis, which had been a significant political issue since 1979. On the domestic front, the United States faced economic challenges, including high inflation and unemployment. The Federal Reserve, under Chairman Paul Volcker, was battling inflation with tight monetary policies that caused the economy to enter a recession in 1981. Despite the challenges of the time, the 1981 penny represents a significant year in American coinage, offering a window into an era of change and progress. As we take a closer look at the 1981 penny itself, we see the familiar features that have made the Lincoln cent one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, we find the profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it has been in use since 1909. The image of Lincoln on the penny is one of the most enduring symbols of American history, representing leadership, sacrifice, and the ideals that shaped the nation. Lincoln's portrait on the 1981 penny shows him facing right, with the inscription "Liberty" above his head and "In God We Trust" to the left. The year of minting, 1981, is located just below his bust. Beneath that is Brenner's signature, V.D. Brenner. It's worth noting that the design of Lincoln's profile has remained largely unchanged for over a century, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in the history of U.S. currency. On the reverse side of the 1981 penny, we find the image of the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. The memorial, which has been a part of the penny since 1959, symbolizes the lasting legacy of President Lincoln and serves as a powerful reminder of the unity and ideals he championed. The reverse side features the words United States of America at the top, with E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, at the bottom. In the center, you'll see the denomination 1 cent, clearly marking the coin as one of the lowest value denominations in U.S. currency. The Lincoln Memorial design is both intricate and meaningful, with its towering columns and grand steps symbolizing the strength and unity of the nation. This detailed design showcases the craftsmanship and artistry that goes into creating U.S. coins, and it adds a sense of historical significance to the penny. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1981 penny is its composition. At the time, the penny was still primarily made of copper, specifically a 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy. This copper composition gives the coin its characteristic reddish-brown color, which is familiar to many collectors and coin enthusiasts. The penny's composition remained the same until 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-plated zinc composition due to rising copper prices. So, the 1981 penny is part of the last generation of U.S. pennies made with the traditional copper alloy. Another important factor to consider when discussing the value of the 1981 penny is its minting process. The U.S. Mint produced the 1981 penny at several of its facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Depending on the minting facility, the 1981 penny may have a mint mark located below the date. If the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, it will have no mint mark. If it was produced at the Denver Mint, the coin will have a D mint mark. And if it was minted at the San Francisco Mint, it will bear an S. In total, millions of 1981 pennies were produced, and most of them were circulated widely in everyday transactions. This means that many of these coins have experienced wear and tear over time. Most of the 1981 pennies you encounter will likely show signs of use, including scratches, discoloration, and other marks from being in circulation for decades. However, as with all coins, the condition of the coin plays a major role in its value. A 1981 penny that has been well preserved and remains in uncirculated condition is a much rarer find and can be worth significantly more than a coin that has been heavily circulated. Collectors highly prize coins that have remained in excellent condition, as they represent the beauty and artistry of the coin without the wear and degradation that often comes with years of circulation. Now, let's get to what you've been waiting for: the value of the 1981 penny. While most 1981 pennies are worth just 1 cent, certain factors can dramatically increase their value. A coin in mint condition, or one that has an interesting error, can fetch far higher prices. For example, a 1981 penny that was struck with a unique minting error, such as a double strike, an off-center strike, or a die crack, can be worth far more to collectors. These error coins are often one-of-a-kind, making them highly sought after in the numismatic market. If you find a 1981 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth as much as $49,000. Yes, you read that correctly. $49,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin that once had a value of only 1 cent could appreciate to such a remarkable price. This is a testament to the rarity, demand, and desirability of well-preserved or error-struck coins in the collector's world. So, what should you do if you happen to come across a 1981 penny? Take a moment to inspect it carefully. Look for any signs of minting errors, and make sure to check its condition. Even if it appears worn, it could still hold some value depending on the rarity and demand for that particular coin. If it's in excellent shape, it might just be worth far more than you expect. On top 2, we're diving deep into the history of an American classic, the 1982 1-cent coin. To many, it may just be another penny, but today, we're going to discover how this small piece of U.S. currency can hold enormous value. From its historical context to its unique design and the secrets it holds, this coin is far more interesting than it might seem at first glance. Stick around, because we'll reveal how much the 1982 penny could be worth today, and trust me, you'll be amazed. First, let's set the stage by understanding the historical backdrop of 1982. The early 1980s were a time of significant economic change in the United States. Ronald Reagan had just taken office as president, ushering in a new era of conservative policies, tax cuts, and a focus on strengthening the military. It was also a time of high inflation, which had been a lingering issue throughout the 1970s. To combat this, the Federal Reserve under Chairman Paul Volcker implemented aggressive interest rate hikes, leading to the country's struggle with a severe recession in 1982. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was facing challenges of its own. The prices of metals were on the rise, particularly copper, which was a key component in the production of pennies. For years, pennies had been made from a copper alloy, but as copper prices soared, the U.S. Mint was forced to reconsider the composition of the coin. This led to a major shift in the 1982 penny's design, a change that would ultimately make it one of the most interesting and valuable coins to be found in modern numismatics. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1982 penny, let's take a look at the design that was used during this year. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design was first introduced in 1909 by Victor David Brenner, and it's one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Lincoln's profile on the penny is synonymous with the ideals of freedom and democracy that shaped the nation. Above Lincoln's head, you'll see the word liberty, while to the left is the inscription "In God We Trust." The year of minting, 1982, appears beneath Lincoln's bust, along with the designer's initials, V.D. Brenner, at the bottom of the coin. This portrait of Lincoln has been a constant presence on U.S. currency for over a century, and it represents not only the man but also the enduring legacy of leadership, sacrifice, and unity that Lincoln embodied. On the reverse side of the coin, we find the famous image of the Lincoln Memorial, which has been featured on the penny since 1959. Designed by Frank Gasparo, the memorial symbolizes Lincoln's lasting influence and the unity of the nation he preserved during his presidency. The reverse side of the penny features the inscription, United States of America, at the top, E pluribus unum, at the bottom, and 1 cent in the center, indicating the coin's denomination. Now, here's where things get interesting. The 1982 penny is unique for its two distinct versions, both of which have significantly different compositions. In 1982, the U.S. Mint faced rising copper prices and was forced to change the composition of the penny. Prior to this year, pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. However, in 1982, the Mint switched the penny's composition to 97.5% zinc with just a thin copper plating. This change was implemented in the middle of the year, meaning that both the copper and zinc versions of the 1982 penny were produced. So why does this matter? Well, the composition of a coin plays a major role in its collectability and value. The copper pennies from 1982 are often highly sought after by collectors, especially those in exceptional condition. The zinc pennies, on the other hand, are much more common and typically have less value. The fact that there are two different versions of the 1982 penny makes it an interesting year for collectors, and finding one in pristine condition can be quite a discovery. As for the minting of the 1982 penny, it was produced at several U.S. mint facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. The pennies produced in Philadelphia and Denver will have a mint mark, either a P or D, below the date, while the pennies from the San Francisco Mint were proof coins and bear an S mint mark. These proof coins are often struck with higher quality dies and are usually produced for collectors rather than for circulation. Because of this, proof coins from the 1982 series can be worth more, especially if they're well preserved. When it comes to the condition of the 1982 penny, this plays a huge factor in its value. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are far rarer than those that have been circulated. Pennies that have been in circulation for decades will often show signs of wear, such as scratches, discoloration, or fading of the design. However, if you find a 1982 penny that has been well preserved, especially one with the copper composition, it could be worth a considerable amount. Another key factor that drives the value of the 1982 penny is the potential for error coins. These coins, which were struck with flaws during the minting process, are highly prized by collectors. Error coins can range from minor issues, such as off-center strikes, to more dramatic mistakes, like double strikes or misaligned dies. These errors make the coins unique and highly collectible, often boosting their value far beyond their face value. Now, let's talk about the big reveal, the value of the 1982 penny. While the majority of 1982 pennies are worth just 1 cent, certain versions and conditions can make them incredibly valuable. In particular, uncirculated copper pennies from 1982 are highly coveted by collectors, as they represent a rare moment in the history of U.S. coinage. If you happen to find one of these pennies, especially in perfect condition or with an interesting minting error, it could be worth up to $45,000. Yes, you heard that right, $45,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something as simple as a penny could hold such a significant value. But that's the power of rare and well-preserved coins in the world of numismatics. So, if you come across a 1982 penny, be sure to inspect it carefully. Look for signs of wear, errors, and its composition, as it could be worth far more than you'd expect. On top 3, we're going to delve into a seemingly humble coin that has a surprising backstory, the 1983 1-cent piece from the United States. While many people might look at this small copper-plated coin and dismiss it as just another penny, today, we're going to explore how this particular penny could be worth thousands of dollars. Stick around until the end, because we're going to reveal just how much this 1-cent coin is worth today. The 1983 penny is part of a fascinating moment in U.S. coinage history. Let's rewind a bit to understand the context in which it was minted. By 1983, the U.S. was recovering from the economic turbulence of the 1970s and early 1980s. The country was dealing with the aftereffects of a severe recession, soaring inflation, and high unemployment. President Ronald Reagan had been in office for 2 years, and his economic policies were starting to take effect. Meanwhile, there was a quiet, but significant change happening in the world of U.S. currency, particularly with the penny. The primary issue that led to the transformation of the penny in 1982 was the rising cost of copper. As demand for the metal surged, its price began to climb, and it became clear that continuing to mint pennies using mostly copper was no longer sustainable. By the end of 1982, the U.S. Mint decided to change the composition of the penny. Previously, pennies had been made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, but in 1983, the Mint switched to a coin composed of 97.5% zinc with only a thin copper plating. This was a major shift, and it made the 1983 penny particularly interesting from a collector's standpoint. In fact, the 1983 penny is sometimes regarded as a transition coin, representing the end of one era of U.S. currency and the beginning of another. However, it wasn't just the composition that made the 1983 penny stand out. It was also the unique features of the design that collectors would come to appreciate. The design of the 1983 penny is essentially the same as the previous years. On the obverse, or front side of the coin, we find the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's portrait has graced the penny since 1909, and it's one of the most iconic images in American coinage. Above Lincoln's bust, we see the word Liberty, and below, the year 1983, which indicates when the coin was minted. The reverse side of the 1983 penny still features the Lincoln Memorial, an image that has been featured on the back of the penny since 1959. The memorial symbolizes Lincoln's enduring legacy and serves as a tribute to his efforts to preserve the Union during the American Civil War. In addition to the memorial, the reverse side also includes the words United States of America, the national motto, E pluribus unum, and the denomination, 1 cent. While the 1983 penny may look similar to its predecessors, the change in composition was monumental. By 1983, pennies were no longer made of copper, and this change sparked a great deal of interest among numismatists and collectors. You see, the switch from copper to zinc had an impact on the minting process, and this is where things get interesting. The 1983 penny was the first year in which the mint began using the new copper-plated zinc composition, and this has led to a fascinating phenomenon. There are actually two types of 1983 pennies. One version is made using the new composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, while the other version is made using the old copper composition, a remnant from earlier in 1982. Finding one of these copper 1983 pennies is quite rare, and it's these coins that have become highly sought after by collectors. What makes the copper 1983 penny so valuable? Well, this is where things get exciting. Due to the transition to the new composition, some 1983 pennies were accidentally minted using the old copper stock. These coins are incredibly rare, and because they were struck using the same composition as the pennies from the 1970s and early 1980s, they are worth much more than their zinc counterparts. In fact, finding a 1983 penny made with the original copper composition can turn out to be a collector's dream. Now, let's talk about the condition of the 1983 penny. As with any coin, its value is largely dependent on its condition. Pennies that have been in circulation for years can be heavily worn, with faded designs, scratches, and discoloration. These coins, while still interesting to collectors, typically have a much lower value than those that have been well preserved. However, coins that are in mint condition or uncirculated, especially those with the copper composition, are the ones that truly stand out. If you happen to have a 1983 penny that has been carefully stored and preserved over the years, it could be worth a small fortune. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition can command much higher prices on the market. The reason for this is that, unlike other coins that may have been mass-produced or minted in large quantities, the copper 1983 penny is rare in its highest quality form, which drives up its value among collectors. There's also a possibility that your 1983 penny could be one of the highly desirable error coins. Minting errors, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or other unique flaws, are some of the most valuable finds for coin collectors. A 1983 penny with an error could be worth far more than a standard, uncirculated copper penny. These errors can occur during the minting process when something goes wrong with the press or the alignment of the dies. For example, there have been reports of 1983 pennies being struck on incorrect planchets, meaning they were accidentally minted on a blank intended for a different coin. These types of errors are extremely rare, and when they do happen, they are often the subject of heated bidding wars at auctions, with collectors eager to add them to their collections. Now, let's get to the moment you've been waiting for. How much can a 1983 penny actually be worth today? While the vast majority of 1983 pennies are worth only 1 cent, the rare copper version can be worth significantly more. An uncirculated copper 1983 penny could fetch upwards of $41,000. That's right, $41,000 for a single penny. This is the kind of value that can make any coin collector's heart race with excitement. So, if you come across a 1983 penny in your spare change, or while sorting through old coins, take a moment to examine it closely. Look for signs of the copper composition, inspect its condition, and check for any potential errors. You never know, your penny could be worth far more than its face value. And with some careful research, you could unlock a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. On top 4, we're going to talk about a coin that might look ordinary at first glance but holds an incredible story and value. The United States 1-cent coin from 2003. You might think it's just another penny, but stick around because by the end of this video, you'll discover why this little coin could be worth a lot more than you might imagine. Let's start by setting the scene. The year 2003 was a significant year for the United States in many ways. The country was in the midst of the Iraq War, and President George W. Bush was in office. At home, the economy was recovering from the dot-com bubble burst that had affected the stock market and the tech industry. But in the world of U.S. coins, 2003 was notable for a few key reasons, one of which was the minting of a seemingly unremarkable 1-cent coin that would later capture the attention of collectors. The 1-cent coin from 2003 falls into a unique period in U.S. history where the U.S. Mint was focusing on updating and modernizing the design of American coins. The first step in this process began in the 1990s when the U.S. Mint started to focus on creating coins that better reflected the country's national heritage and commemorated historical milestones. The 2003 1-cent coin was one of the coins that benefited from this new initiative, though it's not immediately obvious to the casual observer. The design of the 2003 penny is part of a broader effort by the U.S. Mint to mark important moments in American history, and the 2003 penny, in particular, is tied to one of the most iconic images in American culture, the Lincoln Memorial. While the reverse design of the penny had featured the Lincoln Memorial since 1959, 2003 was the last year the memorial would appear on the reverse side of the coin before it was replaced by a new design celebrating Abraham Lincoln's life and legacy. On the obverse side of the coin, we have the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image of Lincoln has been on the penny since its debut in 1909, making it one of the most recognizable and enduring images in American numismatics. The 2003 penny, just like the previous ones, carries the words "Liberty" above Lincoln's image and the motto "In God We Trust" below it. But it's the reverse side of the 2003 penny where things get interesting. As mentioned, the coin features the iconic Lincoln Memorial, which has been a staple of U.S. coinage for decades. This design by Frank Gasparo, which originally debuted in 1959, pays tribute to the monument dedicated to the 16th president and its symbolism in the American story. The memorial represents the union of the United States under Lincoln's leadership, especially in the aftermath of the Civil War. It's a powerful reminder of the nation's strength and resilience. But what makes the 2003 penny so significant? Well, as we've touched on earlier, 2003 was the final year in which the Lincoln Memorial appeared on the reverse side of the penny. In 2004, the U.S. Mint unveiled a new design series that commemorated the 16th president's life and legacy, starting with a design that depicted the Lincoln log cabin. The change from the memorial design to the more personal imagery of Lincoln's life marked a turning point in the history of the U.S. 1-cent coin. Because the 2003 penny was the last of its kind, collectors quickly took notice. The coin, with its classic Lincoln Memorial reverse, became an instant favorite for people who had a fondness for the historic design. As with many coins in the series, its appeal grew significantly in the years following its release, especially as more modern pennies came into circulation. Now let's talk about the condition of the 2003 penny and why it matters so much to collectors. As with any coin, the value of a 2003 penny can vary greatly depending on its condition. Coins that have been in circulation for years are often worn, scratched, and discolored. These coins, while still valuable in terms of their face value, don't command the same interest from collectors. The 2003 penny, however, is most valuable when it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. Coins that have been carefully preserved or stored in protective cases are considered more valuable. If your 2003 penny looks brand new, with crisp details and no signs of wear, it could be worth significantly more than a typical coin in circulation. Mint state or uncirculated coins are particularly appealing to collectors because they showcase the coin's original design and finish in their full glory. Another factor that can influence the value of a 2003 penny is the possibility of minting errors. As with any year in coin production, there were occasional mistakes made during the minting process. These errors can vary from slight misprints to more significant flaws that make a coin stand out from the others. Coins that feature errors, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or other unusual features, are often highly sought after by collectors. A 2003 penny with a minting error could fetch a much higher price at auction or among collectors. Collectors love to find unique coins that stand out from the rest. If your 2003 penny has some kind of error, whether it's a double die or some other flaw, it could be worth much more than the typical 2003 penny. These types of error coins are often one-of-a-kind pieces, making them incredibly valuable in the right market. Now, let's talk about the big reveal. How much could a 2003 1-cent coin actually be worth today? The vast majority of these pennies are worth only 1 cent. However, coins that are in exceptional condition or feature rare minting errors can be worth far more. If you have an uncirculated 2003 penny or one with an error, it could be worth up to $37,000. Yes, you heard that right, $37,000 for a single penny. That's right. A coin that seems like just another penny from your pocket could be worth a small fortune. So, if you've got any 2003 pennies lying around, take the time to check their condition and see if they feature any minting errors. You just might have a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. On Top 5, we're diving into a particular coin that you might overlook at first but could hold more value than you ever imagined, the United States 1-cent coin from 2008. While most pennies are seen as just spare change, the 2008 penny is special in its own right. Stay tuned as we unravel the history, design, and the impressive value of this small yet mighty coin. Let's begin by setting the stage for 2008. It was a year of major economic shifts, both in the United States and globally. The world was in the middle of the Great Recession, a time of significant financial turmoil that impacted banks, housing markets, and millions of people around the world. This era shaped the economy and the coinage produced during this time, including the 2008 1-cent piece. The 2008 penny belongs to the series of coins that featured a redesigned reverse. By this time, the U.S. Mint had already introduced a series of changes to commemorate important milestones in American history. This coin, in particular, was part of the ongoing presidential $1 coin program, which sought to honor past U.S. presidents. The penny itself, however, didn't carry a new face of a president, but was part of the broader initiative to create coins that celebrated U.S. history and culture. Before we dive into the specifics of the 2008 penny, let's talk a little bit about its design. The obverse side of the penny still featured the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has graced the coin since its introduction in 1909. The profile of Lincoln was designed by artist Victor David Brenner and remains one of the most enduring and recognizable images in American coinage. The details of Lincoln's face, from his deep-set eyes to the distinctive beard, continue to stand as symbols of leadership, wisdom, and unity. But it's the reverse side of the 2008 penny that holds the most significance for collectors. The reverse of the penny had already undergone several redesigns throughout the years, but in 2008, it underwent a unique transformation to mark the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This change was part of a larger effort to celebrate Lincoln's legacy and his role in shaping the nation. The reverse side of the 2008 penny features the log cabin design, one of the 4 reverse designs released over the course of the Lincoln Bicentennial series. This was the first coin in the series to show the log cabin where Lincoln was born in 1809, in the wilderness of Kentucky. This particular reverse design was meant to symbolize Lincoln's humble beginnings and the early struggles he overcame before eventually becoming the 16th President of the United States. The coin's portrayal of the log cabin serves as a reminder of Lincoln's rise from poverty to greatness, as well as the hardworking and self-reliant qualities that defined his character. For many, This design represents the American dream, a belief that anyone, no matter their background, can achieve greatness with determination and hard work. The 2008 penny, with its distinct Lincoln bicentennial reverse, was produced in large quantities by the U.S. Mint. However, it quickly became clear that coins like these would hold greater value over time for collectors. While the coin was released into circulation, many people began to recognize the importance of this particular design as part of a limited series. The fact that it was issued to commemorate Lincoln's 200th birthday made it especially desirable among collectors who valued both its historical significance and its connection to American heritage. When we talk about the value of the 2008 penny, it's essential to consider the coin's condition. As with any coin, the value of the 2008 penny can vary depending on how well it has been preserved. Most pennies in circulation are worn, scratched, and dulled from years of use. However, the real value of this coin comes when it is found in mint state, unblemished, with sharp details and a shiny, fresh appearance. A coin that has been carefully stored in excellent condition is always more valuable to collectors than one that has been exposed to wear and tear. It's also important to note that minting errors can play a significant role in the coin's value. For instance, errors such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or unusual patterns can make a 2008 penny even more valuable to collectors. These error coins are rare and are often highly sought after in the market. If you happen to have a 2008 penny with a noticeable minting error, it could dramatically increase its value. Now, let's dive into what collectors are willing to pay for the 2008 1-cent coin. While most of the pennies you find in circulation are worth only 1 cent, some of them are worth much more due to their condition, rarity, and historical significance. If you have a 2008 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, or one that features a minting error, you could be holding a coin worth much more than its face value. In fact, a well-preserved 2008 penny could be worth as much as $33,000. That's right, $33,000 for a single penny. The value of this coin reflects not only its condition, but also the growing interest in coins that celebrate important milestones in American history. As collectors continue to seek out rare and unique coins, the 2008 penny, particularly the log cabin design, has become a sought-after piece in the numismatic world. Coins with historical significance tend to appreciate in value over time, especially when they commemorate figures like Abraham Lincoln, whose legacy continues to resonate with people across the globe. If you happen to have a 2008 penny in your collection, it's worth taking a closer look at its condition and any potential errors. You never know, you might have a rare gem on your hands. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newcomer to the world of numismatics, the 2008 penny is a perfect example of how even the smallest coins can hold tremendous value. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our future coin discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!